Epic Gaming Night is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Caney, and with me, as always, is Rob.
Hello, world.
How's it going, everyone?
It's going good.
So, Matt couldn't join us tonight due to internet problems, so the internet is lame out in wherever Matt is. But yeah, you know how it is.
Mark Kale, first one to jump on. Hi, Roy. I missed you so much, Roy. Oh, Roy, you're so handsome.
It's
so
been a whole week.
Back.
It's been a whole week.
I know, and it feels like so long, Roy.
Well, technically, it's been a week and a day.
I'm excited to see you in a month. In less than a month, I'm going to be able to hold my boo one more time.
Yeah, I'm not going to Mega MooseCon anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Awesome. Well, me and Rob spent an entire week almost at a convention.
Like 5 days.
It was ridiculous. So our podcast tonight is going to be recapping a lot of the exciting things that happened at Dice Tower Con. Before that, we're going to get into some news. How would you pronounce the name of this game?
Which one?
The first one on the list.
The news notes?
Yes.
Ardea.
Ardea is a Green Legacy game from Far Off Games. It is a fantasy game that they just announced today.
Oh, no, it could be Iridia.
Iridia? Nice.
Yeah, Iridia sounds better because then why are you putting in the Y? I don't think they're trying to be silent just to be silent. So let's say Iridia.
We'll say Iridia until the Kickstarter comes out and we watch the video and they pronounce it and we're like, oh.
Bob. It's Bob. It's going to come out like Bob from Far Off Games.
But yeah, he's trying to make an open world RPG fantasy game where you go around and level up your character, but he's calling it a Green Legacy game. So it's like it's got unlockables and things like that, but all of it is resettable. So it has things that you unlock and discover as you go along in the game, but you're never ripping up cards or permanently affecting the game. I guess kind of like Mechs vs. Minions is, sort of, you know?
Yeah.
Because it has all those dossiers that you unlock as you go along and you unlock new things, but you can always just, like, put all that stuff back together and start the game over. So, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for this, and that cover art looks really good.
Okay, that cover art does strike my fancy.
I'm like,
it actually does look really, really nice.
If the illustration for the entire game and like the graphic design and everything just looks as good as that cover art does, like, I'm sold. I'm down. Let's do this.
Yeah. We will definitely be pulling hey man, do you need any playtesters?
Yeah.
Hey buddy.
So I'm a super big fan of Cody's games at Far Off Games there, and he definitely likes to inject a lot of theme into it, so I'm definitely interested to see what he does with a fantasy genre game. If he takes the same approach as he brought with Zaya, where you can just run around, do whatever you want, but like in fantasy, like, I'm a fan. Let's do it.
Sweet.
Awesome. But yeah, and that's supposed to be hitting Kickstarter early 2018. So, beginning of next year.
I believe so. That's what he said. Q1.
Q1. Awesome. Well, the next thing, I got a really weird email from a pharmaceutical company, and I'm not sure how much I want to say because they might be listening, and I'm kind of afraid for my life. But this company called Raxon sent me an email trying to recruit me, and I'm not quite sure, like, everybody who else involved with them seems to be like a really big fan of their like products and like their pharmaceuticals, and they've got some bad press in the past.
I'm not a big fan, actually.
They've got some bad press in the past, but like from what I've read, that's all like overblown. You know, I mean, it's Raxon. I mean, they're just trying to make the world better. What do you think, Rob?
I'm just going to be honest. I have never bought any of their products. I don't trust the company. I think they're kind of shady. I knew a guy who used one of their skin creams one time, and his arm is still green. So, yeah, not a big fan of. Can we say the company's name? Did you already say the company's name?
Raxon Pharmaceuticals.
Yes, not a fan. I'm like, I would, I would help out the competition, bring them down.
But yeah, it appears like this company is trying to recruit people to check out their new thing, do all these different missions and stuff like that. And the only way you can get a copy of this game is like being invited to their, I mean, if you want to call it a game, it's different missions and objectives. But it's weird, like, I know you haven't like seen the website, Rob, but I'll have to show it to you like next time you come over. It's crazy because they have like maps of everywhere that people are being infected and all sorts of different crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, it's already starting to spread. And as far as I know, there's still no cure for herpes, and this is worse than herpes. So
Yeah.
not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, they said that the whole zombie outbreak thing was exaggerated and it wasn't really that big of a deal. And as long as everybody takes their pills, they should be fine. So just continue to take the pills. The pills aren't proven to stop the zombie apocalypse, but you should still continue to take your Raxon pills.
Yeah. What? He is not shadow banned. No, sir. Sorry. Matt is not shadow banned.
Except by his internet service provider.
Yes. There was a big storm in our area the other day, and it went down, and Matt kind of lives out in the country a little bit, and he's on one of those roads where they're like, we'll get to y'all later. And so he's having some issues.
Awesome. Well, speaking of Raxon, not that this guy has anything to do with them whatsoever, Isaac Vega is going to be coming on the show next Monday. So we're instead of having our normal Tuesday show, we're going to have our Monday show, and we might try to squeak some more Raxon news out of him. And I'll try to let you guys know if they silence me and I disappear, you'll know what happened. But yeah, Isaac's supposed to be coming on the show next Monday, and I'm super excited. We're going to talk about all the new exciting stuff coming out at Plaid Hat Games.
I like what you just said because it now gives me an alibi. If something happens to you, I'm not saying that I did it.
You're just going to blame it on Raxon?
Say, oh, Raxon did this. You can even hear it on our show, officer. He is scared for his life. I had nothing to do with it. Wink, wink.
So I may have sent out some invites, and I really hope they're not listening, but I capitalized specific letters when I sent out the invites for this thing, and the capital letters spelled out Ark needs help. Just for fun.
Ark needs, so Adam, or A, R. I didn't get one. Is it R for Robert?
No, you know what Ark is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just did just to be funny. So just see if anybody would notice. But yeah, good times.
Is it Ark a person, or are you spelling out A-R-K?
No, it's. Have you played Spectre Ops? Come on, man, get out of here.
Yes, I played Spectre Ops, but you said you sent it to people and there's it's spelled out Ark.
Yeah, I spelled this whole thing like as Raxon or like as like supporting Raxon, and then yeah.
Hold on, Adam just hurt my feelings.
Oh, you know.
Adam just hurt my feelings. I'm not talking to Adam for the night. I'm done.
That is messed up. Whatever, man.
That is messed up. We even talked about a handsome Rob standee. We've been going at this for a while. My weapon could be like a cologne bottle that's scented like wood fragrances, but it comes back like a boomerang.
Nice.
And he went. Okay, I see how it is. It feels like Dice Tower Con all over again.
What?
Everybody loves Roy. Everybody loves Roy. Oh.
Everybody loves Roy except for when they leave him like standing on the sidewalk crying, wishing he could come to eat dinner with you guys. Just kidding.
No.
Awesome. Well, we played tons of amazing games at Dice Tower Con, and I'm super excited to talk about some of the exciting games that we played. Is there any specific game you want to talk about first, Rob?
I will talk about Ethnos. I finally played Ethnos. I'm not going to go over. I'm not going to go over the mechanics of Ethnos. If you don't know how to play Ethnos by now, you haven't been on the internet. Everybody's talking about how great this game is. I will say this. I had a lot of fun playing Ethnos. I think it is a good game. I don't think it's a great game. I think it's good. It's a fun filler game. I think it eliminates analysis paralysis for the most part, but there's still some analysis paralysis because I know exactly what I'm going for every single round. And there's a lot of people who just kind of sit there and look, and I'm like, the cards aren't going to change. Your options aren't going to change. Just do it. So we'll see, but it didn't get too bad or anything like that. But Ethnos is a lot of fun, and it is a 2 to 6 player game where you are trying to get the most points by the end of the game. You can do crazy combos and things like that. I won the very first game I ever played, though.
I know. Cool. It was like super close. And I was like, yes. I got this. I'm going to make it happen. And then Rob's like, giants. And I'm just like, but that's the number of giants I wanted to do. And then I never found another giant, so I couldn't like pass you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man. And it was like super close.
Yeah, the game was super close. And then the second game I played was actually closer than that. I don't think you played with us.
No, I only played once.
But the winner didn't win handsomely. The winner won by like 7 or 8 points, but everybody else was like within 5 points of each other.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Emerson, I stopped Emerson from winning. I pulled that third dragon. He was about to pull off a 6-card giant set, which would have gotten him, I think when we tallied it all up, after the extra points and everything, I cost him 18 points. I cost him the game by pulling that third dragon. It felt so good. Oh, it felt so good. The game is, I don't think the game is necessarily broke or anything like that. I think a lot of it has to do with the combos of the cards that you put in. I do like how they give you multiple options. What is there, like 12 factions?
Yeah.
That come in the game?
There's 12 factions and then 13 if you add the fairies.
This would be kind of cool to see if Cool Mini or Not does like just faction decks.
Yeah.
Where you can just buy upgrades for faction decks. But the board is still ugly. The artwork is still not great because it's really dark. And like those Minotaurs could be so much better, but it's so dark. It's like they're painted with dark brown and black, and then you have a dark, deep red, orange, and red in there. It's too dark. It could be done a lot better. But anyway, game was a lot of fun.
Also, shout out to Greg, who is half horse.
Okay, bro, for real? Greg is half horse. That boy is fast.
Dude, every single time he played a card, it was a set of Centaurs.
It really was. It was kind of ridiculous. It was at the point where we're like, do you have an extra copy of Ethnos under the table where you're pulling out cards?
Pulling all the Centaurs out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, what would you say your favorite faction out of the factions that you played so far is, Rob? What do you think? If there's one specific type of band, what do you like?
So there's 2 that I really like. First off, I love I am more handsome than the Ethnos map, Mark Hale. I wish I had the admin ability. I'd just kick him off. I really like the Dwarf faction. I love the idea that you can play at least one card and at least get a point. Especially like when you're getting towards the end, we're trying to press your luck. I really like that. And then, what was the other one? It wasn't the Centaur. Actually, I'll have to say Centaur is my second favorite, just because you're allowed to do multiple sets with the Centaur. So that was really cool. But the Wizard, man, the Wizard is cool. The Wizard's pretty awesome, especially like when you're laying down a bunch of cards and you have that Wizard right there. I mean, you get your whole hand, or you get an equivalent right back. And so I like the thing that stops the Wizard for me is I like his ability for like the first third of the round. But once you start to get into that halfway point of the deck where the dragons could start coming out.
Oh, yeah. He's going to make it end real quick.
Yeah, it's like, don't play that Wizard so much. Like we had one guy. You remember Ron? Emerson's friend.
Yeah.
He played the Wizard a ton. Like when we played, he was killing it with the wizard. But every time he did the wizard, he did like 3 or 4 cards, and he drew a couple dragons one round because of doing the wizard. And I was like, bro, come on, man. But anyway, really liked it. A lot of fun.
Nice. Awesome. Well, the game I want to talk about first is Tiny Epic Quest. This is the newest game in the Tiny Epic line, and I got to play it 4 times over the course of Dice Tower Con, and I had a blast each time. This is a game where you are trying to get victory points, shocker, by setting up different ways to earn quests, or you can do it by upgrading your spell books, or you can do it by defeating goblins. And you have this whole overworld that you have 3 Link-like characters that are supposed to be like your elves that you're moving around into different positions on the board to complete these different movement quests. And then there are also temple quests where you have to go down into temples to try to find specific items. Then you also can get points by unlocking your legendary weapons, where you can go to specific temples in specific orders to unlock your sword or your shield or your magic rod. And those all have special abilities. The sword helps you defeat goblins easier. The shield helps you defend from goblin damage during the night phase. And then the magic rod allows you to push the magic way up during the night phase and allow you to unlock more spell books or just terrorize all the other people actually trying to do things during the night phase. But yeah, I had a blast playing this game. Like I would seriously just play it again right now. Like I've had a ton of fun playing it, and I really enjoy it.
It's definitely my personal favorite Tiny Epic.
Yeah. And I've played all of them except for Defenders, and I think this is solidly like my favorite. Like I really like Galaxies, I really like Kingdoms, but this one I just love how you're just trying to figure out how to move your guys around the board. The main point of the game is that each round players are taking turns selecting these movement cards that allow you to move by foot, which allows you to move to an adjacent space, or you can move by raft, which allows you to go vertical up and down the board, or you can move by horse, which allows you to go horizontal around the board, or you can move by griffin, which allows you to go diagonal, or by ship, which allows you to go around the outside of the board. So there's all the sorts of different movement things, and you always get to do the follow action, following other people. You're trying to get your characters on the right temples or on the right obelisks to be able to unlock spells, and there's a lot going on in the game, but overall, like once you figure it out, it's not that complex, and I really enjoy, there's a press your luck mechanic during the night phase where you're trying to push yourself to get yourself to go deeper into temples, to unlock different magic things, to be able to kill off the different goblins, but you're also trying to not take enough damage to where you die or it really undoes everything you just did during the night phase. And it's interesting to see like how quick people rest, and I like the follow mechanic during the night phase as well. Okay, you rolled a whole bunch of torches, everybody gets to use those torches. Oh, you rolled a bunch of like hits on the goblins, everybody gets to use those hits. So very like game where it feels like you're doing stuff all the time with the follow mechanisms in it, but an awesome game, Tiny Epic Quest. What did you think of it, Rob? I know you played it with me once.
I actually really enjoyed the game. Mm-hmm. Hold on one second. Sorry, I'm just typing that up. I really enjoyed the game. It's definitely my favorite. I love the Zelda/Link feel of the game. I really like the components of the game, and I think what I like are the missions. They're always changing. It felt different than all of the other Tiny Epic games to me. It didn't feel, the only thing that made it feel like a Tiny Epic game was the fact that it was tiny, but it wasn't even that tiny, but it was. I mean, the board is bigger and things like that, but I really enjoyed it. I did like to press your luck. I loved the nighttime. Like that was probably my favorite of like we were playing, and this one guy, Roy, was setting up the game, and this one guy walked by, and he was like, "Oh man, I backed out on Kickstarter. I'm super excited." And we're like, "Hey, we need another. Do you want to play?" He was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I bring him up because I think it was the very last round. He pressed his luck to kill a goblin because if he didn't do this, he wasn't going to get this other quest to give him some points. Yeah. But I just thought that is so fun because he was at the point, and I can't say if anybody's played it yet because they haven't because it's not out yet. But there's a mechanic as you upgrade magic each round. It gets harder
dangerous
for you to do stuff. We had magic maxed out, so any goblin was going to do 3 damage each, and any type of magic token was also going to do something to him.
Oh yeah, and didn't he roll perfectly?
Yes, and he was the only one left. And so what means if you're the only one left when you're rolling dice, that means any damage comes to you.
Right.
If you are not the only one left, the damage passes. Like you'll take the first.
You take the first goblin, the next player takes the next goblin, and so on and so forth.
But he was the only guy left, and he rolled perfectly. It was actually it was a lot of fun just to see that. I know I was a little nervous watching him, and Roy was nervous, and it ended up happening perfectly for him. And so I love that luck aspect of the game, and I think that's probably not that the other games don't have it, but that whole just nighttime mechanic that sets up, over the top.
you can push your luck and like try to be cautious, but the interesting thing is the fact that the extra goblins rolled by your opponents can come over to you. You can't necessarily always prepare for how much damage you're exactly going to take. And I had a round where like I had everything done, like I rolled perfectly with my last turn, and I'm like, all I have to do is rest when it comes back to my turn. And then the magic got pushed to where the goblins are dealing like 3 damage for each one. I had run out of power to be able to stop them, and one of my opponents, Crystal, rolls a die and rolls an extra goblin that gets put on me and kills me, and all of the stuff I did becomes undone. And I'm like, wow, you can do that on purpose a little bit if you want to, but it was actually really brutal. And I'm just like, well, I guess all these cool things I did don't happen.
Yeah, and it's tough too, because you're basically, if that happens and you die, you've basically lost an entire turn.
Pretty much.
It's super heavy to lose an entire turn.
So you really don't want to push your luck too far.
No.
You want to be cautious, but sometimes those goblins are feisty, man.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, definitely had a blast with Tiny Epic Quest, and I'm stoked to play it hopefully with Matt this weekend. So
I tell you what, man, Gameland Games, the stuff that they have coming out, like recently, Heroes of Landaran Sea, Tiny Epic Quest, then the expansion for Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with they seem to get better with every game as it comes out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see as they continue to do more stuff. And another thing before we move on from this game, the item meeples in this game are ridiculous with all the little things that you can slot in. And here's the thing I didn't notice or didn't know. I was sitting down, I was playing with Mark Street and Emerson Matsuchi, which is one of our friends of the show. And Emerson
was so smart, by the way.
Yeah, Emerson was like, man, these turned out really good. I'm like, yeah, they look great. He's like, oh yeah, I designed these. And I'm like, what? You designed all the awesome like Zelda-like different items that are in this game? Like that's like the selling point of the game, and it's like the best part when you unlock these items and get these cool special abilities. He's like, oh yeah, I made these, that's awesome. And I'm like, holy smokes, like this guy is amazing, he does everything. So I was super blown away by Emerson's design of those, and I was like, I had no idea. But yeah, awesome. So that was Tiny Epic Quest. Do we want to do another, or we just want to get into this stuff and then talk about more games from there?
We can talk about more games from there. The only other game that I think I'll mention, well, I mean, we'll do whatever you want. We'll do whatever you want.
Cool. I've got parts in here where we can talk about games too, so we'll make this happen. So for our topic tonight, me and Rob are going to talk about our experience at the Dice Tower Con. And I just realized that I wrote in the show notes, the Dice Tower Cobb.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was it like going to Dice Tower Con? What do you think, Rob?
I don't know why I'm struggling with this. I even told you this on the way home. I don't know why I'm struggling with this. But it was probably the best con I've ever been to.
Yeah. And
I don't know why I feel an internal loyalty to Gen Con as much as I do. But I don't know. It was awesome. It was just absolutely amazing. Like, if I have to, I know we'll get into it some more. But getting there and doing everything, and the location is so great. And it's not like that's the best hotel, but you're on very active strips where if you want any type of restaurant, you're near any type of restaurant. If you need any type of store, you're near any type of store. If you want to go Disney World, you're less than 2 miles away from Disney World. I mean, the location in Orlando, I didn't realize how great that was, just that area, but it really was. And then I think one night, our very first night, We went to the Blues House of Blues restaurant in Disney World at their Disney Spring area, which is free to the public. We just walked right on in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just lots of awesome stuff. It's an awesome location, I think. And on top of that, like I feel like you said like so what do we do at this convention? Like when we were going in, it's like so we just play games like at the convention. Is that like
the
whole
it felt
thing?
weird.
And it's like you were just driving down to Florida to play games. Pretty much, like that is exactly what we did. Like this convention is playing games. Like that's what happened at the convention. It was just 100% playing games the whole time. And they have a few like publishers demoing some of their new stuff, and they have Cool Stuff Inc. there that you can buy games. But it's mostly a giant gaming library and a humongous area of tables that you can play games on, and you can just get together with people you know from the internet, or get together with your friends that you bring down with you, and just play all sorts of awesome epic games throughout the convention. So that was one.
And what
of the,
I loved
one of
about
the best things.
Cool Stuff Inc. If you're at Dice Tower, if you're at their con and you order a game from their store, they will do free shipping, and they'll have it the next day at the con for you under a reserve section where you just walk up and say, yeah, I paid for that last night and show them your receipt. And in fact, my guy didn't have to show my receipt. I just walked up and I said, I just said my name, handsomest guy ever. And they're like, oh yeah, Robert Newman, here you go. But a couple people in the chat are asking, is it worth it? Yes. And what somebody asked against Cool Mini or Not Con, not just somebody, my favorite, Adam. I can't be mad at Adam for long. Freaking love that dude.
Yeah.
If I had to choose, out of all the cons I've gone to so far, if I had to choose
just
one major
one.
con, if I had to choose one, it would definitely be Dice Tower Con.
For sure.
And it's so much more than just playing games, but for the most part, that's what you're doing. But I loved it. I loved it immensely.
Yeah.
It was a blast. It was so relaxing and so big. The place is huge. The place is huge. Don't struggle with finding a table.
Yeah, for real. There was like, if you were like, okay, the overflow hall, there's too many people, it's too loud. They had a whole second, or the main hall, there's a whole second overflow hall you can go into, and it's a little bit quieter. And there's also like tables around the corner where you can go play games. They have specific sections for people to play like Werewolf and other stuff like off to the side around the corner. And there's just tons and tons of stuff, just room to play games. And I really like their system where they have the players wanted signs or teachers wanted signs that you can just put up. So like if you need more players for your game, you can literally just throw up that sign and you can definitely get somebody to just walk by and join you in on a game. It's very like friendly and great atmosphere.
I don't know if there was any LARPing or anything like that, but there was a whole other room that had role-playing games and stuff in it. And then there was another room all the way at the other side of the convention that had a mega game going on.
Yeah.
The thing about it, like I know I said Cool Mini or Not earlier. I liked Cool Mini or Not Expo. I would go back to Cool Mini or Not Expo. I would go back just for the swag bag for Cool Mini or Not Expo because that paid for my ticket.
But overall, my experience on the floor at Cool Mini or Not Expo doesn't even compare.
Not even close. Close.
I definitely had fun hanging out and meeting Adam and meeting Tim and getting to hang out with the Dice Tower crew and stuff like that.
Tim was okay. If we're being honest, Tim was okay. A little over exaggerated. Tim was okay.
But I definitely had like so much fun at Dice Tower Con. It was so easy to just do whatever you want, really. Like at Cool Mini or Not Expo is a lot more. These are the things we're doing. We're demoing these games, but you're not allowed to sit at them because they're too full. So it was really just like play whatever you want, do whatever you want. They've got a library with like every game imaginable in it, and they've got. I liked how they had demo halls off to the side. Like there was a room where you could demo like Haba games, and there was a room where there had like new Asmodee games, and there's just different rooms where you can demo different stuff off to the side. It was a blast.
And Cool Stuff Inc. Not to just like give them free promo or whatever, but being that they're so close to their store, they had a whole ding and dent section at the con, which you're not going to see like at other big cons, not as much, just because they could drive up the street and go get more from their warehouse.
Yeah.
And so you got some fantastic deals. And I'm going to be honest, I did not see any dings or dents in some of those games in that section, but yet they're selling them for insanely cheap. And they had brand new copies of Scythe. They had brand new copies of Scythe, not ding and dent, for only $50 or like $55.
Yeah.
I know I could buy that and sell that on a Facebook group and make more than that. So I just thought everything overall, and their freaking game library, Roy.
Mm-hmm.
That thing was huge, man.
For sure.
And it was so awesome. You just go up, you show them your ticket, they scan your ticket, you rent out the game, and then you bring it back. And if they don't have it, they'll like set up reminders for you. Hey, it should be back in a couple of hours, and they'll call for you. I mean, it was like the best Friday night gaming experience that you could have for 96 hours. Because what's it, 4 days? Anyway, sorry.
That's awesome. So if there was one thing that sets this convention apart from the other ones, what do you think it would be?
The atmosphere.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was really fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how everyone was calm. No one was going crazy. You're not trying to run from place to place. You're literally there to play games.
No one's fighting over demos of games.
No one's fighting over demos or just sitting around waiting hours and hours to maybe get in a demo. And also there was so much space. Like, it was tight in between the tables if all the tables were full. But then you could go to the overflow area and get into another table really easily. Mm-hmm. And so I really liked the atmosphere. That was my favorite part. Everyone was just like, let's play games. And that was really nice. Gen Con is amazing. I love Gen Con. I don't want to not stop going to Gen Con. However, Gen Con is a spectacle. And the thing that's bothering me more about Gen Con is I can not go to Gen Con and then in October order their game for $30+ less than just buying it first at Gen Con. Mm-hmm. And typically the games I want to buy at Gen Con I've already backed on Kickstarter. So it's one of those things where I really like indie. I really like the atmosphere of Gen Con. I mean, it's something. I feed off of people's energy, and there's a lot of energy at Gen Con because there's so many people. But it's just so chill. Hey, anybody want to play a game? Oh, and they have those player towers and play tester towers and teacher wanted towers. So let's say you want to play a game and you have nobody in your group. You can go to the side of the wall and they have all these little towers. You put the tower up on your table. Players wanted. Within like 5 or 10 minutes, your table is going to be full of people. Yeah, you know, especially if the game is like a good game and it's like pretty hot. Everyone's just going to sit down and play with you.
Yeah, I mean, I've had issues at local conventions, like tiny little local conventions, like Mace and different things like that, just finding a place to sit down and play games. Because my favorite thing to do at a con is just to have that open gaming. And it's just great how, like, that's the focus of this, is just like, hey, come play games, have a great time. And I wish more conventions would do that. Just have those player wanted signs and have the open gaming where it's just wide open and not schedule everything out to the T where there's these crazy events. Just let people play what they want. Like, just let people set up the game and play with their friends or whatever. And another thing that's probably like a different aspect for me than for other people is the fact that, like, there's so many people that I interact with online and like create different content with and like know from the Dice Tower as far as contributors go and Favorite Game Friday contributors. There were so many people there that we got to meet for the first time and play games with, and that was totally a blast. I also got to do a lot of networking there. So if you're like interested in board game media or even like game design, there's a lot of networking you can do at this convention because it's more chill, it's more relaxed than Gen Con. So there's publishers there you can talk to, there's designers there you can talk to and get hints and tips from and like show your game a little bit too. It's not like I'm sure like nobody wants you slinging their prototype hardcore, but you get an opportunity to meet these people, which is in a more casual atmosphere, which is pretty cool too.
That was a lot of fun because I actually got to do that and got some really great feedback for my prototype. Mm-hmm. And I got to play with 3 different designers, and so that was actually 4. I got to play with 4. So anyway, it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I could talk about it, but I know we've got the notes to keep us on track. But I absolutely loved it.
Awesome. So What kind of games did you play there? Are there any other games that you played at the convention that you'd like to talk about?
So I played more Euro-style games at Dice Tower Con than I think I ever have in my life, and they weren't so bad.
Somebody check Rob's temperature. Something's going wrong.
Bro, Bro, it wasn't so bad. For example, I got to play Terraforming Mars. And here's the thing. I played Terraforming Mars with Emerson Matsuchi and his friend Ron. He just goes by his American name of Ron, but that's not his real name. Two extremely intelligent gentlemen. Now,
Yeah.
I think what helped me is we started playing like around 10:30, 11 o'clock, and we got done around 2 a.m. And so I think
Man.
the late night helped me. But I played Terraforming Mars, and I tied Emerson at the end of the game. And he ended up beating me because in the tiebreaker, whoever has the most money at the end, and he had me by like $3. And so he won the game. But I even told him at the beginning of the game, I was like, listen, you guys are you guys, right? If I beat any of you guys, just go home right now. I'm just playing because I want to say I played games with Emerson and Ron because the guys were so much fun. We had a blast. And they were like, no, Rob, you're going to be fine. And I'm like, no, man, Emerson, you're super sweet. Like, I really appreciate it. But no, I should not be fine. And I did pretty good. And so I was really excited about that. So that was a lot of fun.
So with playing these Euro games, you're going to 18xx games next?
You know, here's the thing. So here's another great thing about the con. We got to meet Ambi, and we also got to meet her. We also got to meet her lovely husband, Toby. Super sweet couple, very nice. And they were talking about the different things that you do in these games, in these 18xx games.
Yeah.
I kind of want to try one. Not to say that I'd be any good or anything like that, but I like the idea of the stocks and how you have to like buy low, sell high type of thing, and your company can go bankrupt and other stuff like that. It sounded intriguing. I'm not saying like I think I'd become a fan. What was that one game you said made your head hurt?
Sentient.
It sounds like Sentient plus so much more.
Just math.
Yeah. Because they're like, oh man, the short game's like 3.5 hours. And I'm like, what? No,
Yeah.
thank you.
And they have very little luck in them most of the time. So it's like, you better not mess up
no,
early.
it's very
You better not mess
calculated.
up early in that game.
And that's one thing that was cool that Ambi did. She said that I don't know if it was the first 18xx game they played there, but one of the very first games they played, she knew she lost after the first round because she did bad in an auction. And to me, I find that very intriguing. Now, she ended up playing the entire game, and she ended up trying to go for other goals, but she knew after the very first auction that she could not win the game.
Yeah, I'm good.
Right?
That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah. My bad, Adam. I was supposed to FaceTime with Adam so he could say hi to Ambi. And all I'm going to say is, Adam, you're going to have to stay on for the 150th show for Epic Gaming Night when we have our friends come back on.
And then I come back on
Actually,
till
that's fun
150.
then. Which, yeah, we may have Ron before then, but my bad, bro.
Um,
Oh, also, real quick side note. A lot of Dice Tower contributors are short people. I felt very tall this convention. I was like, oh, like very, very tall. Like Ambi, super sweet, very nice, very pretty young lady, and her husband's very handsome. But I was like, man, I have eaten more than you are as a person in like a day. Not at a meal, but in a day, I've eaten you. That's crazy. But anyway,
Rob is the giant. Speaking of giants, I want to hear you talk about the game that you demoed and your experience with that.
you want to hear about that
Because
now?
that's a hot new game that people are actually really excited about learning about.
Yes. So I was very excited. I got to work with Gray Fox Games at this con, and I got to learn how to play the 2 new expansions coming out for Champions of Midgard, the something mountain, I can't remember the name, and then Valhalla. but the mountain expansion comes with Berserkers. It's a new adventure type area where, when you're playing Champions of Midgard, you can get on the boats at the very bottom of the map and go on an adventure. This is a new adventure area where you don't need boats to get in. They don't give you as many points as the bottom ones, but they also give you new type of dice, and they'll give you money. And there's 4 new dice that come out with these expansions. You have a Berserker die, which is a pink and green die, super cool. Hits on every single side but one. You also have a Shield Maiden die, which their shields also count as hits, but then it has normal hits as well. Then you have an Archer Clan die, which is in the mountain expansion, because these giants in the mountains are holding the Archer Clan hostage, and the Archer Clans hit on every single die but one. And then your leader comes with a brand new die.
Yeah.
And a brand new special ability. The new expansions offer a ton in the game.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, the base game is great, but I don't know if I would play the base game anymore without the expansions. Like that Berserker die and the Shield Maiden die are just absolutely amazing. It was so much fun. The thing about the Berserker die is when you go into a battle, if you lose men, they're the first ones to die, because their little thing says that they just run in crazy and naked, and they just throw themselves at the enemy. And so if they die, if you lose anybody, they're the first ones to go.
But they have more hits on them than anything else.
But oh my gosh, they've got 3 double hits, 2 one hits, and then 1 blank space. So, and here's the thing, I demoed with this one guy, and he rolled with his Berserker die 3 times and missed all 3 times. It was hilarious. Felt terrible for him, and his group laughed at him.
But another cool thing about this expansion is that the dice are now like resources. When they die,
yes,
they count for different types of things.
Yeah, so the Valhalla expansion, now when your resources die or your dice die, you now get a token for that. And the token is placed in Valhalla, in your Valhalla board. And you can use those tokens to then buy things from Valhalla itself. And there's 4 different Valkyrie cards that you're going to rotate out if somebody buys one. And then there's 3 monster cards that just stay out permanently. And there's some really cool abilities on those cards that allows you to do different things. And they also added new huts. In the base game, how you have those huts where like the merchant's hut and the good merchant hut where you can just go there and get a free coin. They added a bunch of new huts. They added a ton new monsters. There's a new troll lord. In fact, there's a couple troll lords where they're a lot harder to kill. And now if you kill the troll lord, everybody else gets shame rather than just one person.
Shame.
Shame. And I know they say blame tokens, but I was doing shame for the demo and everybody loved it. So we had a really good time. But the new Champions of Midgard expansions, that's a spot, man. If you did not jump on the Kickstarter is shipping out, should be before the month's end, they're shipping out. And then they should be for retail, Gen Con, or maybe a little after Gen Con. I highly recommend everybody pick this up. So much fun.
Yeah, I had fun. Rob demoed the game for me. And,
how'd I do?
It was pretty good. Although you kept trying to hint for people to put shame tokens on me, but
absolutely.
Other than that, it was pretty fun. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I was trying to figure out how to utilize the different stuff and the different dice, and I think it adds a whole lot. I'm definitely excited to play with the expansions more. Definitely, Champions of Midgard is a great game, and if you love Champions of Midgard already, this just makes it even better. So
much better. So much better.
Awesome. Well, for me, the first game that I want to talk about that is one of the games I played at the convention also is the Alien Artifacts from Portal Games. This is their 4X card game, like their space civilization-ish card game. It is a game where you have resources that you're collecting each turn. You have resources in your hand, and you're trying to figure out how to spend those. They have different icons. There's like green for planets and red for building ships, and there is blue for building technology, and they're all like double-sided cards, and they also have like a number in the middle. But you're getting these cards each turn, and whenever you spend them, you get more back. So you always have 3 cards in your hand, and you can play down 2 cards each turn to try to fulfill building planets or creating more technology or building ships. And the more of those you build, the more expensive that type of thing happens. But they all give you special abilities. Like you'll get a planet that lets you build ships easier. You'll get like a research thing that lets you make planets easier. You'll get ships that let you explore planets easier. You can get all these different combos. It's definitely a very engine building game. But then you try to all the cards are double-sided as well, so they have special abilities on one side, and then you also can flip them over, and they'll have another special ability, but they'll be like a known special ability. Like each type of that like faction type of ship will have attack on the other side, or this type of ship all has defense on the other side. Different things like that. So you kind of know what those kind of ships have, and you can also send ships out that you've made to attack. You can make it attack the alien civilizations to try to get points or alien artifacts. Or you can attack your opponents to try to hinder them in different ways, and it'll just put like tokens on their cards to make their abilities not work, and they'll have to pay. It'll just slow them down and mess up their stuff a little bit. But definitely a very interesting, very quick. Like if you like games where the turns are like super snappy, in this game the turns are like, okay, I go, I play a couple resources, you go. Okay, you go, goes to you. Okay, you go. Now it's back to me. I draw my resources. I play a couple resources. Okay, you go, and you're just doing this stuff really, 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 really quick, going around the table, building your little civilization. I made huge mistakes while playing this game because I wasn't exactly sure what the optimal sort of strategy was, but halfway through I was really digging the game, and I'm like, I know what's going on. I'm really excited. I wish I had done better at the beginning, but my opponents were kind of in the same boat, so we're all like, man, we could have played so much better. But it was a lot of fun trying to figure out how to maximize our little engines that we were building with all these different space components. It feels kind of like Race for the Galaxy theme-ish. You're trying to build engines and get points and different things like that, but the mechanics are completely different, and it's actually even quicker than that because it just like comes around to your turn so quick, and you're not having to wait for people to like select what action they want to do. You're just kind of like doing your own thing and then occasionally attacking different stuff. I'm definitely excited to try more Alien Artifacts, and I'm excited to see a full production copy of it as well. So that is Alien Artifacts by Portal Games.
So one last thing real quick. So I'm demoing Champions of Midgard, right?
You want to throw this back out?
What?
You want to go back to Champions of Midgard?
Well, it's not so much Champions of Midgard, but I'm playing Champions of Midgard, and I'm demoing for it, and there's this lovely couple that comes up, and they're talking to, I think, Jared, who is also helping at the Gray Fox booth, and they see me, and they're like, oh, I think that's the most beautiful person I've ever seen before. And in my head, I'm like, obviously, I am the most beautiful person. I get that. But all of a sudden, I got to meet fans of the show, and I got to meet Tom Tanner, who is he's a fan of the show, and he was there with his, I believe it was his lovely wife. And they came up to me, and they were like, hey, man, you're Rob from Epic Game Night. And I'm like, hey, man, I am Rob from Epic Gaming Night.
Was this while you were wearing the Epic Gaming Night shirt?
Yes, this is while I was wearing the Epic Gaming Night shirt. And they were like, we love the show. We listen to you guys. Been listening for a while, but I need you to do me a favor. And I was like, all right, what do you need me to do? And he was like, listen, my buddy bought Ethnos, and we need you to make it a better looking board by signing Ethnos. And I was like, oh my gosh, you really are true fans of the show, because our fans know that I think Ethnos is the ugliest looking game that you can ask for. But I just thought that was so cool. Not only did I meet, and I met a ton of fans and stuff there, and got to meet a bunch of people, but people were asking me to sign some stuff. I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. And then we took pictures together with it, and I made sure to post it on Instagram. And so if you see two sexy guys holding an Ethnos board on Instagram, that's me and Tom. But I just thought that was so much fun. And not to say that I would not have bumped into Tom had I not, had that not occurred. But again, I was there at the Gray Fox booth, and so it just all worked out. And I thought that was a lot of fun. The fact that somebody actually, I don't know if I feel like I devalued their board as much of a terrible board as that already is. But I just thought it was so much fun. Just like, oh man, could you please sign this ugly board for me? And it was for him and his friend and stuff like that. I absolutely loved it. That was a really cool moment, just like a little personal moment.
That was one of the fun things for me, like going to any of these conventions, like getting stopped by people that like our content is amazing. Like I love it when people are like, oh my gosh, I love you from Favorite Game Friday, or oh my gosh, I love your reviews, they're great. But it always means something like extra special when they're like, we listen to the podcast, we listen to like every episode, you and Rob and Matt are great, and they're asking me where Rob and Matt are. It's fun. It's funny because Adam in the chat was saying, oh, were they asking where Roy was? Actually, I met the guy the day before, and he was asking me about where Rob was because he wanted to get him to sign this board. So he was looking for Rob, not me. So I had to be like, oh yeah, he's going to be demoing at Gray Fox. Make sure to check him out the next day. But it's just so awesome to get to meet and hang out and talk to like different people who enjoy the stuff we make. And it really like brings a whole level and like is really the reason why we do this stuff, is to be able to interact with different people who enjoy board games as much as we do. So
oh yeah, but I just thought that was absolutely crazy. Like I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah, and I didn't like warn you about it before or anything like that. I
had no idea. And then I came up to Rory later because I first met Tom, and Tom was looking for me, so he didn't have the board. So he came back later with the board. But so Tom told me everything that was going on, and then I went up to Rory later, and I was like, "Listen, bro, I don't know what happened, but this dude says they want me to sign their board." And we just kind of laughed, and you and I, we had a moment. He was like, yeah, that guy came up to me asking where you were and stuff. And so I just thought that was crazy cool. It's like super, super cool. So
nice.
Anyway, good stuff.
Cool. Well, the next question I kind of already answered. Did you get to try out anything new that is coming down the pipe? Any brand new games?
Was going to be my thing, was Champions of Midgard. That was going to be my answer to that. I did get to play some prototypes, but I've been asked not to talk about them. So excited for the future of some games.
We also got a chance to play Sentient, which is a brand new game. I think it's out now by Renegade Games, but it's like just barely out. And this is it's a game where you have these dice and you're trying to have the dice show the right facings as you place cards underneath it to create specific math equations to be able to gain victory points on these cards. And the cards, when you play them, the cost to play the cards is you have to manipulate those dice. So you're trying to figure out how to manipulate the dice correctly, but then not mess up the dice so that you cannot then play the cards you need to play and try to make sure you get a bunch of points. But you're also doing this whole like worker placement thing of trying to put the workers in the right place to be able to claim these different tokens that allow you to multiply the points your cards are worth at the end of the game. It's a very heady, mathy game, and I made a meme for it like last night that had Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover when they're doing the card counting in the casino with the numbers all going through his head, and I'm like,
yes, that was a good meme.
I was like, that's me when I play Sentient right there. So
it brought me back to middle school algebra. Like I had to remember, okay, the alligator eats the big stuff.
I love that Justin from Restoration Games was like trying to explain how greater than less than signs works.
Yeah. Well, like I haven't used that in forever in my life, right? And so I'm like, okay. But after the first round, once I got all the symbols back going through the brain, I ended up doing pretty good. I got second place in the game. So that was fun. It wasn't bad. It's not complex, but it is complex. Like it's a pretty cool game.
The rules are simple, but to actually be able to play very well, it's very puzzly and very mathy. But it's not like hard. Also, it's not hard math. It's just hard to actually do what you want to do with the math.
What gets you is the bidding process.
Yeah.
And it's not so much bidding, but like you get these agents and then their associates. Mm-hmm. And to be able to get points at the end, you have to you have to win over some of these investors.
Right.
But you have to bid on the investors each turn. And say
bidding on the investor is also taking a card in that specific row. So not only do you have to want that specific card, but you also have to want the tokens around it.
You also have to work with that investor. Yeah. And if you don't win it, but you have a bunch of those types of cards, like let's just say Economy was one investor, it was like kind of crazy because it was like I think at the end of the game I had like 4 cards I couldn't use. I did really good, actually. I had a bunch of military, I had a bunch of economy, and I had industry. And there was the fourth one. I can't remember the name of it. It was that one that was like purplish looking that I did not have. I could not count any of those cards because I did not win any of those investors over.
Nice.
Somebody's asking about my thoughts on the Asmodee announcement of Game of Thrones Catan.
Did we talk about that last week?
I think we did. You mentioned in the news.
Yeah.
Long story short, I'm actually looking forward to it. I've never played Catan, but I will play this Catan because I believe it's the Night's Watch, and you are trying to work out resources to stop
and
the
it
wild
actually
things
has
in the
miniatures in it too, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it looks really cool. I want to give it a shot. I like the theme and the IP. I'm very excited for Sunday, and so we will find out what's going on there. But yeah, looks good.
Game of Thrones is Sunday. Man, so close. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be good stuff.
Awesome. Well, do you have any crazy stories you want to share about Dice Tower Con?
Yes, so much fun. So, first of all, side note, but it kind of goes with the story. Crystal from Board Game Blitz, love her to death. She is super sweet. It was really cool getting to know her. But the girl is loud when she gets excited. She starts yelling, and I loved it because I'm also a loud person, so it made me not feel out of place. And so I was like, yes, there's a female loud person. But I say all that to say this. We went out to dinner one night. It was myself, Roy, Half Horse Greg, Stephen Avery, Emerson Matsuchi, and Crystal. And we're at this dinner. We went to this Chicago-style pizza place.
Yeah.
Pizza was okay. It wasn't that great. But anyway, so we're there. We're playing. We're just talking, playing around. And Emerson's talking about Crossfire. And I'm like, listen, man, what would it take to play Crossfire?
Whatever.
Like,
I had been talking about him.
Did you ask?
Yes,
okay.
All day I had been bugging him. I was like, man, because immediately when I saw him, I'm like, dude, did you bring Crossfire? Because that's their new game that's supposed to be coming out. This can go right into our last question as well, what's coming down the pipeline that we played. But Emerson didn't bring his copy of Crossfire or his prototype or anything like that. Like, it's already published. Like, he's already, like, Crossfire is already a thing that's going to happen. It's going to be coming out at Gen Con. But this is Emerson Matsuchi's 3-minute social deduction game, and I'm like, dude, because he had told me, he's like, well, I could just make up a prototype with cards or something. But we're at dinner. I was like, dude, you should do Crossfire. And he's like, oh, well, let me see if I can get paper. And Rob, you were like, oh, let me like go get you. Did you go and get these stuff?
I immediately got up out of my seat. Yeah, I jumped out of my seat. I went straight to the first waiter I saw at the host stand. I was like, listen, I need a pen and 6 sheets of paper. They were like, everything all right, sir? Look, food's semi-okay. I need a pen and 6 sheets of paper. And so we ended up getting the 6 sheets of paper and the pen.
They were order notes, like when they're filling out your order, what they write on.
When you're placing an order for food. And so we played Crossfire with French fries. Not really, but, I mean, it was like that. We played like 4 or 5 games of Crossfire. It was so much fun. Yeah, it wasn't the official version. There's going to be a lot more that's going to be added in the game. But for the fact that there was only 6 of us, we could get away with only playing with 4 roles. There was an agent, a VIP, assassin, and a bystander. Agent, VIP, assassin, bystander. Yeah, so there's 4 roles. It was so much fun. So we're in the middle of the restaurant. We started to get loud. We're yelling at people. We're yelling at each other. Roy's like, nope, Rob's lying. And I did screw up one time. I said 2 bystanders, and there's only 1 bystander. And I knew I passed the bystander card to somebody else. And it's like, crap. So Roy got me on that. But then I knew Roy was something bad whenever he gets quiet. And so there's games where Roy's like, and then there's games where Roy's just sitting there. You just hear crickets, and he's like, I don't know. When he starts doing that, and he moves the shoulders, and I don't know, he knows something, and he's bad. And it was just...
I feel like I won every game, though. I don't know.
Nah, I don't know if you won every...
Because I was a bystander once, and I won that. Oh, there was one where I was supposed to die, and nobody killed me. No, I think somebody shot... One of the players shot at me. I did win that one.
Yeah, there's a decoy. Man, there's 5 rolls.
Yeah.
And there's even more rolls that come with the official game. But anyway, long story short, it's real quick. It's real fast. It is an under 5-minute social deduction game.
And I love how there's like known information. Like you kind of know where
Yes.
you don't know who is what, but you know on what side of the table specific things are. So you're kind of like, well, I know this roll is on this side, so one of us has to be it, and it's not me, so it's one of you two. So I mean, I think that's really intriguing for the game.
It was so much fun. And the fact that everything was impromptu. It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything. It just came from conversation.
Yeah, we
And
just
after
sat
the
there
first
and
game, it
watch
was like,
Emerson
"Can we play
write
again?
on pieces of paper
Can we
for
play
like
again? Can
for
we
like
play
15
again?"
minutes. It was awesome.
Yeah, and so we're just yelling, and there's people walking around looking at us like, why are they yelling? And we're laughing. It was a blast. And Stephen Avery, of course, he was being crazy. I didn't trust him at all, and he's not a good liar because he smiles when he lies. And so I knew every time when Stephen was like something he wasn't, because he would just be like, hey, man, I'm totally not the assassin. Just like with the biggest grin across his face. Steven, you're the assassin. Like, don't even lie about it. It was a blast. That was probably, if I had to choose one moment from the con, it involved food, it involved my friends, and it involved a really cool game in a public place where we didn't care about being crazy. So
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely one of my highlights of the convention, and I'm definitely gonna make sure that I get a copy of Crossfire because it's so quick. I'm super excited about it.
Adam Sparks, you're such a jerk. I love it. Adam Sparks in the chat he's making fun of Mark, sort of. He's like, hey, Mark, we have a huge surprise for you. Eric Ling is coming to Mega Moose Con, and we're all going to get to play in Rising Sun on paper plates and tinfoil miniatures.
Dude, I'd do it.
Okay, in a heartbeat, I would play that. But
you know Eric's not going to do that.
No,
but,
Eric's not.
But you know who would? Emerson
Matsuchi.
Matsuchi. Emerson would freaking make us a board game out of paper plates and tinfoil. And the problem is, it would still be amazing because that guy doesn't play.
Okay, so speaking of that, dude, you are absolutely right, man. We were sitting there, we were playing a game, and Jason, who's a designer who's doing a game with Stephen Avery, he brought out Catan components, and he said, "Hey, Emerson, make me a game." In under 5 minutes, Emerson made a brand new game from Catan.
That's awesome.
And you had to like bet on things, and you got points and stuff like that, and you had to place guys out, and it was just like, this is so dumb. Like,
did it make you feel bad?
No, it didn't make me feel bad. It like blew my mind. Like, how can somebody be so talented? He was like, hey man, we were just sitting around talking, and he pulls out this stuff and he's like, make a game for me real quick. And so Emerson's like, all right, blah, 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 da, 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 da. Like 5 or 6 minutes later, yeah, I got an idea. Here we go. And we played it.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was not terrible. Like, the talent that guy has is unbelievable.
That's awesome. Yeah, hanging out with so many of these like amazing designers keep my designs like firmly on the shelf. Which is sad to say, but it's just like, man, these guys are so good. I just want them to make more games because they're so good.
Yeah. Also playing Strike with Ambi and Toby.
Oh yeah, that was a ton of fun.
Ambi, if you're still in chat, really like getting to know Ambi and her husband, but she's not very good at Strike. And I mean that with all due respect. But Ambi, I guess she has super strong wrists because every other roll the dice would come out of the bowl because like she just chucked it so hard, and so that was a lot of fun. And even her husband was like, Ambi, you're not really good at this. And she's just laughing. She's just having a blast. And so that was a lot of fun. And I also got to play Dancing Eggs with them. And that's a crazy kids game from Haba, which my daughter, every single day since I've been back, we've probably played it 5 times a day. I'm not even joking. I love it. But still, it's just like, okay, Dancing Eggs, like, baby, I can't play anymore.
Speaking of crazy stories, I want to talk about... and talking about Haba, I want to talk about me and Mark Streed got to play the Rhino Hero Super Battle. I also ended up getting to play it with Rob also. But the game with Mark was our first game ever. We played with this awesome couple who also like watched like our content, which was pretty cool too. I didn't know until afterwards. It's always funny, like you play a game with someone and then at the very end of the game they're like, oh yeah, I really enjoy your stuff, and you're just like, I didn't know like you watched it. That's awesome. But yeah, we played a game of Rhino Hero Super Battle, which takes Rhino Hero but adds even bigger walls and longer floors, and it changes up the rules a bit because the point of the game is to try to be the tallest meeple on the tower, and each player has their own meeple now, and whenever you take your turn after you've placed your wall, you roll a dice to see whether you go up or down flights. And majority of the time you'll go up. Sometimes you can just stay where you are, and sometimes you can lose a floor. But if you ever land on the same like story of the building as another player, you have to roll off on these dice. And there's an attack die and a defense die. The attack die is all evens, and the defense die is all odds. So you're never going to roll and like have the same number as them, which is actually really genius. But also it makes attacking like more formidable, so you kind of want to move up and attack your opponents before they have a chance to attack you. And if you hit them, then they have to move down a level. If they end up moving down a level and then they're on a place with another player again, they have to move down another level. And you're trying to be the highest person on there. You get this token, and if the tower falls and you have the highest player token, then you win. If you are the player with the highest player token and the tower falls, and like when you're doing it, then everybody else wins. But there's also these spider monkeys that are on certain cards that you have to like hang off the side, and it doesn't really make the game that much more complex than the whole Uno mechanic that was on it before, because that's completely gone now. But it's just interesting that the tower that used to just be like 3D going up can now be like wider and like longer, and you can make the tower in like all sorts of new shapes, and it's just really exciting and fun, and I definitely can't wait to get a copy of Rhino Hero Super Battle. The part that makes it crazy is that playing with Mark Street and this couple, we made the tower ridiculously high. I have pictures on our Instagram.
Like stupid high.
Like really stupid high. Like the picture
like
that I have,
than Mark Street high.
the picture that I have, it was like 3 stories higher than the picture that we took, because it was taller than both of us, but it got higher than that. The player that was putting it on last was standing on a chair and reaching his arms all the way up to be able to put stuff on there. So it was pretty intense.
I don't know how you guys did that. Like, that's annoying when I look back at that picture, because I'm struggling with like the tower on like the 4th level just off of the table. I have these huge like bananas for fingers.
And I mean, we were still definitely trying to take each other out and trying to get to the top level, and like trying, because the lady that we were playing with, she was just like way up there ahead of us, and then her husband like ended up going up there past her, and he finally ended up being the one to knock it down. But it was awesome to see how epic the tower had become when we played the game. It was definitely exciting.
I remember when I walked in, the Haba guy was like, "Oh, you're back."
Yeah.
Like,
it was awesome
because the tower that tall.
Because I was talking to him, I was like,
a celebrity for being with EGN. Roy was a celebrity as the guy who helped build
the giant
Rhino Hero Tower. That was awesome. He's like, "Oh, you're back." It's like, man, like what happened in here?
He was taking pictures, and I was like, let me know if anybody builds a tower taller than ours. And he's like, I don't think they're going to be able to do it, man. I've seen a lot of people in here. They're not going to be able to make one as good as you guys. But it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was a lot of fun. I definitely liked it. So,
but yeah, I definitely like. They're only supposed to have like super limited quantities at Gen Con, and if there's any, like, I won't run for very many games, but I would run to go get Rhino Hero Super Battle because it was that much fun. So awesome. So overall, the entire convention, what do you think your favorite moment of the convention was?
Well, that's what I just did. Like, if I only had to choose one moment, it would be the playing at the restaurant. Like,
yeah, that was solid.
That was by far just blew my mind. Absolutely amazing. Outside of that, man, I know it's gonna sound so cheesy, and I'm not trying to sound cheesy or anything like that, but it really was just like making a lot of new friends and playing a lot of games and meeting new people. Like, you know, like I would consider some of these additional, you know, board game podcasters and media personnel. I would consider some of them friends after this weekend. And
for sure,
you know, I got to play a bunch of games. Like, there were like 2 days where I just hung out with Emerson, and it wasn't like I mean, at first it started off as me, as like the little dog who's chasing the car, running away with his food. Like, I was just like fanboying out. But like by the end of the first day, it's like, all right, like he was just texting me regular stuff, and I'm texting him, and like, all right, like I had a moment. I think it was like Friday morning before I went to Gray Fox, because he was texting me about a game Friday night. I was like, did I just become friends with Emerson Matsuchi? Like, he's planning stuff with me later tonight. I was like, this is so freaking awesome. And so I just absolutely really enjoy the board gaming community as a whole, from the fans to the media content. Like, everybody, I mean, you have your douches, you have your jerks in every and anywhere people are involved. But I was very blessed and very lucky to not meet any of them this weekend, and just had an absolute blast. I mean, we even played Heartthrob, the 1980s dating game, and we all had so much fun. It was just that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
How about you?
I thought it was really cool getting to meet some of the publishers and stuff that I had interacted with slightly online. Like, I got to meet Justin from Restoration Games, because I had done a video for him for Stop Thief, and we had ended up playing Stop Thief and talking about it on the podcast and stuff. But it's cool to like get to meet some of these people that we interact with only online, be like whether it's a publisher or whether it's people who create media with them. That's a lot of fun. But I think my favorite moment is I got asked to play a game of Battlestar Galactica. And this wasn't just any game of Battlestar Galactica. This was a game of Battlestar Galactica with almost everything in it. They were parts of every single expansion that they were utilizing. And this was
You've never done that before, right?
I've never played with anything from Daybreak before, and I had the Exodus expansion, and I very sparingly used like anything from it, like maybe a couple of the characters occasionally. That's about it. But they had everything for the game, and they're like, oh, Sam is going to play Battlestar Galactica with us. We know you're Roy from Epic Gaming Night. You like Epic Games. You have to play Battlestar Galactica. I watched your top 100. It's in your top 20. You need to play Battlestar Galactica with us. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. And then Crystal ended up joining me too, because they had one more spot, and that's one of her favorite games as well. So I got to play with all these guys who are like veteran Battlestar Galactica players. So they were like super quick on their turns. They knew exactly what was going on. When they explained the rules to like all these crazy new things I had never seen, they knew what they were talking about. That's a little bit of the problem with like some of these bigger games, especially like Battlestar Galactica. There's so much stuff in just the base game. When you add on expansion after expansion, it gets really daunting. But having people that like literally these guys played Battlestar Galactica all the time. And this was our gameplay with them was the third time they had played Battlestar Galactica that day. So literally we were playing Battlestar Galactica for like the third time with these guys, and it was our first time playing together, me and Sam and Crystal playing with them, and it was definitely a lot of fun. So we were doing great. I was a human, and I was helping out the team, and I was the chief, which is like the repair guy. So I was just going around repairing ships, repairing the Battlestar all over the place, like trying to help people out, trying to make sure we succeed. And then we were doing great. We were doing pretty good. Our president wasn't so great. Our president was Rosalind or whatever, but she wasn't like doing much to help out. We were losing morale pretty fast, and she wasn't like giving inspiring speeches or anything like that. So we're like, what's going on, man? What's up with that? Anyway, the sleeper agent phase comes, and I got a card that didn't say you're not a Cylon on it, but I just had to pretend like I'm just a normal person. So I'm just still doing everything I'm doing, rooting for the humans as hard as I can. There's Cylon ships all over the place. Sam is like blasting them out of the sky. He was playing Apollo, and he was just wrecking everything. And then Crystal was playing Starbuck, and she was just missing everything. And it was great. But we were definitely having a lot of fun and like working together. And it came down to where like if we lost one more morale, we would lose the game. And all we had to do was do one more jump. And we got a thing that came up that said morale, and I was like, guys, we have to win this. We have to put everything we have in this to make sure we win. And I stuck a stack of cards into the thing. I was like, guys, put everything you have. We have to win this one. And all the cards I put in there were all completely negative. No, I mean, Sam had a few of his doubts because I had done a little bit of shady stuff here and there along the way, but nobody knew that I was a Cylon at all, and I tanked that last crisis, and we lost the game, and Cylons won, and me, who was super rooting for the humans the whole time, they thought I was on their side, had betrayed them, and
Roy betrayed somebody.
The president was a traitor the whole time, but we kind of knew that. The president had set me up as the vice president, though, like I think before I even got a Cylon card, so it was kind of hilarious because he had ended up like making me the vice president. I'm like, but why are you making me the vice president? You're supposed to be gaining us morale. You're like literally wasting quorum cards. But it was a lot of fun, and I think Sam was mad at me, which made it even better, but it was great.
Sam's a lot of fun though, by the way.
Yeah, Sam was a lot of fun to play the game with, especially because he was like he was beasting some base stars and some raiders like out there in space. And I was just rooting for him the whole time, even though he was on the other team. It was still pretty epic. But I did try to videotape him. The one time I tried to videotape him rolling the dice, he was like whiffing all the rolls. And he's like, "'Cause you videotaping me, that's why I'm rolling terribly." And I'm like, haha, I'm really a Cylon. This is great. But yeah, it was fun. Definitely.
Just a side note, if you guys ever meet Roy, and there's a chance for there to be a traitor or betrayer, it's Roy. I will bet on that every time in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's Roy.
I beat...
I bet you were really helpful and really nice too.
I was.
I know that's what makes it hurt the worst, because like it doesn't look like you. Like you do a really good job of just like pulling the chair out from people. Oh, that's so sweet. You guys are doing such a great job. Yeah, let's go here. Oh, I'm gonna try to help. I just poisoned your Kool-Aid. You're dead. Like it hurts. That's why I get so mad, Roy. It hurts. You're really good at being a terrible person.
I realize that it's really fun. It's really fun playing social deduction games with people who A, don't listen to the podcast, and B, have never played social deduction games with me before. It just makes it so much easier. Like being the bad guy is easy mode. It's always easy mode. So, oh man. But yeah, so that was a ton of fun. I also got to play Insider with Ambi and her husband Toby, and they hadn't played social deduction games with me before either, and I won as the Insider twice just by acting dumb for the most part. And they're like, "How did you win? I didn't think it was you." And I'm like, I just acted like I was a good guy. I don't know what to tell you. So, but yeah, good times. Awesome. So, if you had to rank Dice Tower Con with the other conventions, where do you think you would rank Dice Tower Con compared to all the rest?
It's my new number one.
Yeah.
I would definitely go back. Just a lot of fun, just playing games, texting friends. You want to play this? You want to play this? Let's meet up. And what I also like is the con floor is open 24/7. And I think also the library is open 24/7.
That is really crazy. It's like always open.
Hall is the only thing that closes at 6 o'clock, and that's such a small portion of the con. But yeah, it's my new number one. The atmosphere, the location, the people, Dice Tower. I mean, they're a good network. They're a good company. They know what they're doing.
If you like the top 10 lists and the Dice Tower awards and listening to the banter from the Dice Tower crew, there's tons of that you can do. There's all the events, like the only events they really have are just like their Dice Tower YouTube videos. They have those top 10 lists and things like that.
They do that, and then they did the Jack Vassal auction,
Memorial auction.
That was really cool. I tried to get some things, but then I realized I don't have money like some of these people.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy because I was helping being a spotter for the Jack Vassal Memorial auction, and they auctioned off some really amazing stuff. And the awesome thing about it is, if you don't know what the Jack Vassal Memorial auction is it is a auction that all the proceeds go to help gamers in need. Like if they lose a child, or their house burns down, or like there's just like desperate catastrophic things that happen to a gamer in the community, this fund has gone to help out hundreds of different gamers who have had issues in their life. So it's a really good cause, and the auction, all the proceeds go to that, and all these different companies donate like huge things, like awesome things to this. Like there was a fully painted copy of The Godfather, which was really awesome and went,
and it was a signed copy too.
Yeah, it was signed by Eric Lang and everything, and I think that went for like $500. And then there was Terraforming Mars, which is not supposed to be out for you just got your shipping notice, right? So it should be soon.
No, I just got an email saying I should have my shipping notice by the end of the week.
Nice. So those are just going to be shipped out soon, but you're getting the game like 2 weeks or like a week or so before anybody else has a chance to even get close to having a copy of the game. So awesome stuff like that. So it's definitely cool to see all the crazy bidders, and also seeing Tom freak out about how high people are bidding on stuff. It's pretty hilarious because Tom was like, "What are you guys doing? That's awesome!" So, but yeah, it was definitely a blast. So would we go back next year? I think you already answered this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if I could only go to one convention during the entire year, I would pick Dice Tower Con just because I had that much fun. Like it was literally.
If you're wanting to play games, you're wanting to play games, Dice Tower Con. If you're wanting events and other things like that, then Gen Con is still number one.
But the problem with Gen Con is it's so hard to get into those events. I mean, Gen Con's cool if you want to try to walk around and look at the hot new games, maybe demo stuff, but Gen Con's so full, and I'm sure it's going to be so full this year that it's going to be really hard to even demo games. For the most part, because you're going to have to just wait to demo if you want to demo anything. But if you want to go around and look at all the new hot games, you can totally see all that stuff. And if you want to try to run in the masses to try to get a couple copies of stuff.
But see, that's what bothers me. It seems like every year the exhibitors bring fewer and fewer copies. And so it's like only 25 are released a day, only 25 a day, or 50 a day. And when you're talking about 65,000+ people a day, unless you're there like 7:30 in the morning, you're not going to be first in line.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, and Gen Con, it's gonna be really hard for you to find a place to just sit down and play anything with your friends at all. You're gonna have to like go back to your hotel room or try to find a lobby somewhere that isn't just crowded with other people. And since this year it's sold out, like it's
gonna be ridiculous.
I'm not bringing any games with me to play. I'm just gonna do whatever happens there. It just happens. Like Dice Tower Con, I brought tons of stuff to play, and I got to play a lot of it. I played almost all the games I brought, which is awesome. But at Gen Con, I'm just not gonna really get to play as much. I'm just gonna have to spectate games. So, but yeah, definitely Dice Tower Con. Definitely going back next year. So super excited for that. If you're interested at all, try to make sure to hit them up next year. I know it sells out super quick, and hopefully we can see some more of you guys there next year. Definitely love to play games with our fans and different people that know about the podcast, because you guys already know who we are. We just need to learn who you guys are, so that should be super exciting.
Yeah.
And I guess this has pretty much been a podcast. Does that seem good to you? Is there anything else you want to say, Rob, before we start to close this thing out?
Just it was a blast, and I miss Matthew.
For real, yeah.
I think Matt would love that con. I think that would also be his favorite, because great food, great stuff to do.
And we had a lot of people asking us where Matt was. They're like, "Where's Matt at?" So
yeah,
awesome. Well, we stream these Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/Epic Gaming Night. Next week, we're having Isaac Vega on, so we're going to be streaming on Monday to fit in with his schedule, but that's going to be the normal 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But also make sure to check out everything we do over on Instagram and Twitter. We're always posting things we're excited about. And we also want to say thank you so much to our amazing patrons that allow us to do this podcast and help pay for the bills for all the different things for Epic Gaming Night. You guys are great, and you allow us to do what we're going to do. And now we want to thank the patron of the week.
Yes, the patron of the week. And let me tell you, I've already kind of talked about this patron a little bit, but I was so super pumped after meeting this guy and experiencing what I experienced with him at Dice Tower Con. If you're ever having a bad day, think about Tom Tanner. If you're ever thinking, man, life's really tough, I don't know if I'm going to make it, think about Tom Tanner, and you will make it. If you're ever having one of those days where you're telling yourself, babe, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to play one more game of Ethnos because it's so ugly, you think about Tom Tanner. And you think about how amazing that gentleman is and how amazing he makes the Ethnos boards just by his presence. My signature actually made the Ethnos board worse. But I never thought the board was so beautiful as when I saw it in the hands of Tom Tanner. And the board is still ugly, but the aura and the beams of light and love that came off of this man, and it was mostly his wife. It was, I mean, if we're being honest, it was mostly his wife, because Tom did very well. He definitely married up. Like most men do.
I thought it was compliments at first, and then it started going down.
No, it's not going down. Tom Tanner is freaking the man. If I'm going into war and I have to choose a handful of people, you better believe Tom freaking Tanner's on that list of people I'm going to war with. He's the type of guy that you know you can count on. Tom Tanner is the lumberjack that provides the wood chips for our cologne-smelling factory. Tom Tanner is my brawny lumberjack, who I am going to use his face to advertise all of the different rights that we're going to go in the different countries. We're going to have a pine scented cologne. We're going to have a cedar scented cologne. We're going to have mahogany. Tom Tanner's face is going to be on every single one of those cologne bottles because Tom Tanner is the man. Freaking loved meeting him. It was such a pleasure to get to see him and his wife, and the fact that he's a fan and a listener. But just a really cool, really chill guy, and somebody that I want to be when I grow up one day. When I get older and my wife finally tells me, listen, you need to grow up, I'm going to be like, well, then you need to email Tom Tanner, send him a list of things that I need to do, and whatever he says I have to do, that's what I'm going to do, because that's the type of person that Tom Tanner is. He makes me want to be a better man, a Tom Tanner man. Thank you so much, Tom. Really appreciate you and your wife and your friends and all that you guys do. It was a pleasure meeting you, boss.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much to all of our amazing patrons. And if you want to help support Epic Gaming Night, make sure to go to patreon.com/Epic Gaming Night. We've got all sorts of different goals and things we're trying to unlock so that way we can make more amazing content for you guys and do more amazing things with Epic Gaming Night. So thanks so much for all of your support. And we'll see you guys on the next Epic Gaming Night podcast,
which is going to be next Monday.
Hype, Monday hype.
And it's going to be hype for real because we're going to have Isaac on there. And Isaac's always a big hit because sometimes he's like, I can't necessarily say what you're saying is not going to happen, but I can't say that it is going to happen. So
dude,
like, if you want to know some stuff.
I hope Isaac doesn't just come with the Raxon police and shut everything down. And
what if Raxon is now Asmodee?
Dude, what if Raxon took over Asmodee and that's why they're accumulating everything and forcing everybody to take their pills?
From the get-go, take over Plaid Hat Games, who's going to be taken over by Z-Man Games, who's going to be taken over by Asmodee. So
who's
now
going to be taken over by Raxon,
who can now take over the world because now they have worldwide distribution.
Dun dun dun.
What a smart plan! It sounds like Raxon's the guy from Ant-Man who's like, hold on. Do you think he asked her to ask him to come to me to ask me about this thing because I was friends with Ant-Man? Yes, he was. Raxon, who was one of the best characters in the movie. I just can't remember his name right now.
I love it. Anyway, my copy of Raxon's supposed to come in tomorrow.
Sweet. My copy of First Martian is supposed to come in soon, and so is Massive Darkness.
So where's that being mailed from? Is it being mailed from
probably Poland.
You think it's going to come all the way from Poland for the pre-orders? That seems expensive.
Well, I mean, they'll probably ship it out or wherever their factory's at. I don't know.
I say they don't have U.S. like distribution for that.
Well, they probably do, but they don't really talk about their distribution. Like Cool Mini or not lets you know, hey guys, we're shipping it from here, and here's what this is going on. Gotcha. I haven't gotten any updates whatsoever from Portal Games, and today was like the first email I've gotten from them in like 3 months that had anything to do with First Martian.
Gotcha.
So I was getting kind of annoyed with them. I was like, man, are you guys ever going to come out with this stupid game? You're talking about Hiroshima X and all these newsletters. And so I was excited.
We definitely have to try to play that when it comes in. Hopefully we don't
hopefully
we don't suffocate on Mars too much.
Bro, but here's the thing though. If we don't like it, I feel like I can get $800 for it based off of the Jack Vasquez if I try to sell that thing online.
Nice.
And I'll just say it's for the Robert Newman Foundation because Robert Newman makes bad life decisions by buying board games, and you need to please help him.
It's going to help feed those babies, man.
Bro, right? Get some diapers.
Dude, man, diapers. You just got out of diapers, and now you're going back in.
Just got out. Like, we've been out of diapers now for 2 weeks, and it's so nice to see that half-used box of diapers or pull-ups. I mean, it's night-night pull-ups because she's potty-trained all stuff during the day. But for 2 weeks now, to see those nighttime pull-ups just stay half-used, it's been so magnificent.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody that stopped by and chat. Yeah, that was a great segment right there. The parenting segment.
Boom.
But yeah, we'll see all you guys next time. Peace.